We are ready to go live.
Yeah, I just
Hello, we are
realized
live.
the times. Yeah.
Hello, world.
Hello, world.
Hey, hey.
Hello.
Hey,
How's
everybody.
everyone doing?
Good.
Doing
Doing
good.
good.
We already have so many viewers. It's amazing to see so many folks tune in.
Yeah. Hey, everybody in chat. One thing we always love to see is shout out in chat where you're coming in from. We love to see how global our audience is. Um, Myself, I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. I always have to preface that or with I do not live in the giant pyramid. Um, but yeah, welcome. What's up, Kirby, Harsh, Ayush, Aryan? Welcome.
In case it helps, if any of you joined yesterday's stream, I was one of the moderators. I hope you can finally put a picture on the face of the moderator. I'm Aishika, and I'm tuning in from India. I see someone waving from India. Hello, we're in the same country. If you're from India, please let us know in the chat. It would make me very happy.
Ethan Costa, welcome back. Saw you in yesterday's stream. Thanks so much for joining again.
Ooh, awesome. A return customer. This is great. Wow, this is awesome. We're seeing so many people from all over the place. Love it. And we have a former DOer out there, Kirby. Shout out to Kirby.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody for joining. Let's start getting into it. We have a lot of great speakers here, a lot of fun to be had over the stream. So let's talk about agenda. We're going to do some welcome and intros. We're going to talk to our sponsors and partners. Oh, thanks. Thanks for putting the slides up. And we're going to have a roundtable discussion, what's new in open source developer tools and our favorite OS tools. I'm excited for this part. I have like so many options in my mind and I have to pick a couple before we get to that part. Are you all ready with your choices?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. That was easy. Cool. So let's do a round of intros. We've got Phoebe here. My name is Chris. I'm part of the developer advocacy team here at DigitalOcean. Hailing from Las Vegas, as I said earlier. Let's go, Phoebe. You're up.
Hey, everybody. I'm Phoebe. I manage Hacktoberfest. So I heard all the cats. I make all the things happen. I'm the person behind the scenes who's kind of making this thing go. So yeah, super happy to be here. Love Hacktoberfest, major passion of mine. So and let's pass it over to Oliver, who I also work very closely with.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Oliver. I'm based in Ghana. I work on Digital Ocean Credits program. I work closer with Phoebe. So if you are more into open source development, I'm the one to work with in terms of asking for credit support from Digital Ocean. Thank you.
Let's go, Aishika.
Hello, everyone. I'm a junior developer advocate here at DigitalOcean, and my job at the moment is supporting Phoebe in whichever capacity. So here I am on a stream, connecting with all of you and helping Phoebe out again. And I would now pass it on to Lisa.
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Taliaferri. I am a former DigitalOcean alumni, I guess, and I am on the Hacktoberfest Advisory Council, so I'm a big fan of Hacktoberfest. I actually am the maintainer of the Cloud Haiku project, but some projects that I've been working on more recently have been SigStore, which is a security tool for developers, and Wolfie, which is an undistro container image project. So I'm happy to be here and talk to everyone about open source.
Lisa, would you be willing to drop some links to some of those projects in the chat when you have a moment?
Yes,
I'd
I
love
will
to
do
share
that.
those out with everybody because some of these projects are really cool. Last year, you might be familiar with Cloud Haiku. We use that as our example, or if you've seen Chris's video on how to get started, you'll learn about Cloud Haiku. It's a great one, but also Sigstore is amazing and security is everything.
Let's jump over to Becca. Becca HW.
That's me. This is Becca. Hey, I'm Becca. I am the developer experience lead at OpenSauced. I am from a very small town in Ohio, and I think this is my, let's see, I've been doing Hacktoberfest. Maybe this is my 5th year doing it, so I'm very happy to be here and supporting contributors and maintainers. And maybe, hopefully it's okay, but I'll popcorn it over to Sebastian.
Hey, thanks, Becca. I'm Sebastian, co-founder at Stateful, and we make RunMe, which we're going to talk about later at RunMe Dev. I am coming in from Durham, North Carolina. As a Munich native, I grew up in Germany. I have to admit that I attended Oktoberfest more often than Hacktoberfest, but we can still fix that. So that's me. I don't know who's next, so somebody else has to pick. Thank you.
Yeah, Abu Bakar.
Hi everyone, I'm Abubakar Siddiq Ango, originally from Nigeria, but I'm currently based in The Hague, Netherlands. I work as a developer evangelism program manager at GitLab, and I'll be talking more about how to contribute to GitLab and open source projects hosted on GitLab.
And next up, Yuval from Amplification.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm calling from Tel Aviv, Israel. Yuval, I'm the founder and CEO of Amplification. It's an open source backend code generator, which we will talk about shortly. Very happy to be here. This is the first year we are officially sponsoring this event, but we are participating for years already, and I'm very happy to be here.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. This is a great crew here. Let's do a quick, for anybody in the audience that is maybe their first time in Hacktoberfest. If it is, please shout out in chat. We love first timers. We're going to do a quick history of Hacktoberfest. So what is Hacktoberfest all about? And yes, Ashika, we love questions. Please throw them in as you think of them, and we'll answer them as we go along or maybe at the end. But we love questions, love answering them. So Hacktoberfest, if you register anytime between September 26th and the October 31st, pull requests made on GitHub or GitLab hosted projects. And you have to make sure that you look for the topic Hacktoberfest on repos. And the project maintainer must accept your pull or merge request for them to count towards your total. The first 50,000 participants to get their PR or MR accepted will have a tree planted in their name through Tree Nation, which is awesome. And participants with 4 pull or merge requests accepted in the month of October will receive a unique digital reward. Phoebe, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, if you're new to Hacktoberfest, basically, this is just an opportunity for you to network in your community, meet new people, learn new things. It's a great way to start learning how to code, particularly because we do this through using Git. So if you're new to Git, this is a great opportunity to practice version control. Many people have leveled up in their careers as a result of the work that they completed during their Hacktoberfests. And so Aishika is a great example of this. Aishika, do you want to share your Hacktoberfest story?
For sure. So I first heard about Hacktoberfest in 2019, back in my first year in college, and I could not participate back then because of an injury. And then in 2020, I participated in my first Hacktoberfest. That's pretty much how I got to know about DigitalOcean. And I would not lie, I joined DigitalOcean just to be a part of Hacktoberfest as an organizer, and well, here we are. So super happy to be here, connect with everyone, and organize Hacktoberfest.
We have a question in chat that I want to call out. Where did it go? It was about getting started with Hacktoberfest. I'm going to pull up the website real quick. If you go to hacktoberfest.com and go to participation, there's all the info you need here to get started. There's links and resources. If we scroll down here,
Just want to call out too that sub nav pops up. So if you want to navigate quickly, because I have to do this all the time, I'm always popping in and out of here and checking these sections. So you can quickly get to the section that you're looking for.
yes, and down here, GitLab has a participating Hacktoberfest project. So you can click on this, find some good resources, repos here. You can filter by language. So this is a great place to get started to try to find out projects that you can help contribute to.
There's also one more question that I'd like to answer. We've got it here. I have got 4 PRs merged, but why is that waiting period there? So we have a cooldown period which is basically 7 days long. This gives the maintainers the opportunity to make sure that your PR or MR is the best fit for the issue that they have opened. These steps basically help the maintainers by reducing spam or incomplete pull requests. So that's why we have this waiting period here. And majority for I would say majority of the times the PRs eventually do end up counting as contributions to Hacktoberfest. But again, this is a discussion that you should have with your maintainer in case your PR is eventually not accepted during the cooldown period. And if Phoebe, you'd like to add on more to it.
The waiting period. Yes. So we have to wait for maintainers to actually accept your pull request. So we give that waiting period time for an opportunity for them to get to it. Sometimes maintainers get overloaded by the number of people that want to contribute to their projects. So it can take a little bit. But if you go to the Hacktoberfest website and you go to the FAQ section, you'll be able to find out more about that waiting period. And if you have any questions ever, you can always email us at hacktoberfest@digitalocean.com. I'll drop that in the chat too.
And I know there's a lot of questions still here in chat. We're going to save some of these for a little later on. There is a great question that we will definitely touch on at the end. How do you contribute with very limited coding knowledge? Lisa threw an answer in chat, but I feel like that's something we should chat about a little bit further later. So why Hacktoberfest? People create awesome stuff. It's a great learning opportunity, great opportunity to start to know people in the community, and it creates job opportunities, which is a really big one for to like organically jump into a project and meet the people that maintain the project. But let's jump into meeting our sponsors and our partners. First up, we have Yuval from Amplication. Yuval.
Hello, thank you very much, Chris. So like I said, I'm really excited to be here. Very happy to be part of this amazing global event celebrating open source, and great thanks to DigitalOcean for arranging that for many years already. That's really a celebration for an open source project that is built on the community. I think that's a very valuable moment for us during the year. So today I'm going to present application. I'm going to show you what we're doing. We're going to talk a little bit about what application are doing as part of the Oktoberfest event. We're going to show you some example of tasks and things that we want to do. And if we have time, maybe we will do a quick demo on that product, live demo, which is always exciting. So I'll share my screen. And let me know once we have that.
Yes, we can see.
I love the recursion view.
Yeah, always fun, always fun. So like I said, celebrating here with Oktoberfest, let's quickly dive into what is application, and let's start with our amazing global community that supporting us, more than 12,000 stars on GitHub, more than 200 contributors. True to last week, I think now we already have like 30 or 40 more of those, which is really amazing. The beginning of this month is already super powerful. And our platform is basically a code generator that help a lot of companies generating backend application very quickly. So as developers, we all know that we really want to create value and deliver value. So right business logic, creating beautiful user interface. But this is not what we doing most of the time. Most of the time we are wasting our time on a lot of repetitive stuff, a lot of things that we wish we don't have to do. And now we don't have to. With application, we automatically generate everything for backend developers so they can focus on what matters. And the solution, unlike low-code solution or backend as a service platforms, is aiming to generate code that would give the developer full ownership and freedom to scale and to
Hey
customize.
Yuval, just a quick heads up. Are you sharing your presentation deck with us? Just confirming the same.
Oh yeah, you're not seeing the presentation?
No, no, no. We are able to see the StreamYard Studio instead. I
Oh,
would recommend resharing the screen.
all right, all
Yeah,
right. Sorry about that. Let me
no
try
worries at all.
again. Let me try again. Share screen, and I will share the entire screen now. Is that better?
Perfect.
Perfect, perfect.
All right. Okay.
That looks
Okay.
great.
So that's what you missed before. Nothing special, and this beautiful design by our amazing Alex. But let's go back to our presentation. So yeah, thank you for saying that, and sorry for missing that. Like I said, what we're doing, we're generating code. So we're sitting on top of GitHub, GitLab, any Git provider for that matter, and we know how to generate the code. We give the developers full freedom to keep using their skill set, their IDE. They're just cloning the repo we generate. They take the code, they do whatever they want with it. And as that power, they can do whatever they want with that also on the deployment side. So they are not limited to any deployment platform. They can do integrate into existing CI/CD pipelines and so on. So this is really truly amazing, and we already have thousands and thousands of developers around the world using that. And that's really cool. And like I mentioned, thanks to the open source community who made that happen with contribution, feedback, feature request, issues. So it's all very, very amazing. Let's talk about what we're doing this year for Oktoberfest, which is basically the reason we are all here. So we have three different packages, or three different, let's say, path or tiers for developers to contribute to application this year. So the usual stuff is solving open issues. The open issues can be code, can be non-code. So writing docs, improving typos, CSS, tutorials, anything like that. So that will be the first package. The second thing is plugins. We have an extensive plugin system that allows the developers and organization to create their own flavors of our code generation platform. So we also have this opportunity for contributors to build plugins, and we even have some really nice prizes for that. This is our premium issues where we give up to $500 gift cards, or maybe if you want, you can even use that as a contribution to another open source project. And the last thing is building tutorials, building web apps with application, building tutorials, and that's also count as contribution. And we have really nice swags, from stickers to t-shirts, and I mentioned the gift card, so it's really exciting. If the time allows, I really want to do a quick demo, live demo, which is always exciting to do in front of audience. I think you will see the value of application, how fast you can actually go and start building stuff with application. So this is application.com. All you need to do is go and click on Start Now. Once you do that, right now I'm right here in an existing project. I will go and create a new project. Let's call that Hacktoberfest. And what I need to do now is go and create my services. I will go and create my first service. Let's call that order service. And I will go and create a repository on a GitHub account I'm already using. Let's call that Hacktoberfest demo. Now we generate a backend application with either GraphQL, REST API, Swagger, and we can even generate admin UI. For this example, I will just keep all of them live. I can choose between the monorepo pattern or polyrepo pattern, where I get my order services and the admin UI in the apps folder. In this example, I will use a Postgres database. For now, I will start with an empty data model, and for this demo, I will skip the authentication module. And now I have my basic structure. What I will do, I can go and create data models or entities manually. I will just go and upload the Prisma file I created in advance. Let me show you that file. This is just a very simple schema for a database with an order and a product. Very simple, with relation between the order and the product. And I will just import that. And here we go. That file is being imported. And if I will go now to the entities, we see that they are here. We can go and edit them if we want. Let's go and even create another entity. We'll call that customer. And we can go and describe our customer, for example, first name, last name. And let's go and create a relation to the orders. So we have a relation to the order, and one customer can have many orders. And that's it. Basically, there are a lot of other things here to do. For example, our plugin system, which I mentioned, which gives a lot of power to create your own flavors of the code that is generated with GitHub Actions and MongoDB, MySQL, Redis Cache, Prettier, ESLint, Nest.js, NATS, and so on, OpenTelemetry. And basically, everybody can create plugins. Organization can create their own plugins with their own IP code generation if needed. And once I'm just committing that, eventually we're going to see that application generates the code in like 30 seconds. The code will be available in our repo. And like I mentioned, as a developer, I'm not limited to the capability of what we generated for you. You can go clone the repository that we just used for the code generation and go and customize the code, build on top of it. And at any given time, you can go back to application, make more changes, create more services. If I will go back here to my project, you can see that I can also create message broker, and I can define topics, and I can use the Kafka plugin or the NATS plugin, or even the rest, the Redis message broker plugin to connect between the services. I can use gRPC to connect the services. So it's very, very powerful to go and create whatever you want. And my GitHub repository is ready with 239 files. I will just go and merge that. And as you can see, all the code is here, available for your usage. You can just go clone that, and that's all available for you. If you want to learn more, you can go to application.com, and from there we have the docs. We have our Discord server. You are more than welcome to join our Discord server. And if you go to GitHub /application, you can find our repository. Of course, don't forget to give us a star if you like it. And feel free to reach out. Feel free to contribute. We are waiting for your contribution. That's it. That's it for the demo. If there are any questions, of course, I'm more than happy to answer.
Awesome. Thanks, Yuval.
Absolutely.
Fantastic how much you can get done in, what was that, like a 10-minute demo? Less?
Definitely less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
demo didn't
I'll try
start
to
till.
keep it. I know people on YouTube can run it slower, so I'm trying to do the demo very fast to be in time. So
Yeah. No, we appreciate it. Very, very fun demo. All right, so we have what we're calling a Hacktoberfest hurdle next, and all of our speakers, you're also part of the answering pool. And everybody in chat, this is going to be a multiple choice question. We asked ChatGPT to give us some questions, so here's what it came up with. The first one, and let us know what you think in chat. The first one, what does the term dry stand for in software development?
I love that it says, don't regret yourself.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
That happens way too often.
Personally,
It's a
it would be an A.
forward-looking proposition, right? Like, make a good choice now so you don't regret yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's my rubber ducky. Don't regret yourself.
I've tried that method of development before, and I end up with a lot of bugs.
Explains the regret.
All right, we're getting a lot of B's. Blair thrown in the A.
I know, definitely A. Emphasis noted.
Emphasis on A.
All right. So answer is B, don't repeat yourself. Yeah, I think we're all pretty good with that one. Cool. Thanks for participating, everybody. I personally would accept A or B. So let's jump into our next speaker. We have Sebastian from runme.dev.
All right. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm Sebastian, co-founder and CTO at Stateful, and we make RunMe. I just shared my screen. Okay, we see the infinite screen loop. Actually, let me hop over here. So essentially what RunMe is an attempt to make your documentation runnable. And the idea behind that is that, like, when we looked at all the things that you can automate when you're a software developer or an operator, the one thing that tends to always fall behind is documentation, right? And documentation is susceptible to bit rot. And we kind of came up with this idea of like, hey, how about if we could run Markdown, right? And if you make Markdown runnable, can you put it into a CI/CD pipeline, right? And when you do that, can you get ahead of it, like, outdating or diverging, right? Especially for documentation that's co-located with your code. So what we essentially have done is, this is kind of like a README, that you ordinarily see on, like a source code repository here in GitHub. This is the RunMe VS Code extension, which is sort of the primary interface for RunMe. When you hop over into your VS Code, what you usually see when you look at that RunMe is something like something like this, or you're probably used to something more like this, which is the rendered Markdown. So what RunMe lets you do is, like, you can flip from ordinary Markdown to like a notebook version of it. So essentially, like, it will look for executable code blocks. And let me actually hop over and show you a different file, because the README doesn't really have any. But this contributing MD that tells you how to contribute to the repo does have them. So when you look a little bit more carefully, there's some text here. I would be ordinarily reading through this, kind of familiarizing myself as part of Hacktoberfest, how to contribute to this. But when you scroll down and you get to the portion where it says, like, okay, now check out the code, right? You can actually run these blocks. I'm not going to run the checkout one, but there's oftentimes prerequisites, right? You have to have a couple of binary installs, the GitHub CLI, JQ, and you can just click the play button here. And then you just kind of like wait until it ran, boom, done, right? And you can just kind of like complete your steps kind of as part of like an onboarding process. And it's really easy. This installs, like the extensions that are recommended. And there's a little bit of pre-configuration you have to do on your NPM, but you can really just read through this, familiarize yourself why you need to do this and what it is that you need to do. And then, if it applies to you and in an onboarding process, ideally all of those steps do and they all work, you just kind of click the play button, right? And, install my NPM dependencies. And you just get this nice, like terminal view down here, and you can resize it, scroll around. But essentially, it really makes your Markdown executable, right? And it does that within VS Code or any VS Code platform compatible IDE. So a couple of other things you can do is, if you're like a little bit more in the infrastructure space, right? We have like a Terraform repository here. Ordinarily, the Markdown file would look more something like this when it's rendered, kind of tells you the steps that you have to take to apply, an infrastructure change here. You could now go and copy and paste all of this, but that's boring. And that's kind of like part of what we think is the problem, right? Because when you copy and paste, it's error prone. And also you kind of get used to your, either your memory or your bash history. So why not just run it, right? And I'm going to run this against the staging workspace. So, essentially just set it to staging. It will just prompt me to like, what workspace do I want to work on? I did make a little change to this Terraform plan. That's not all that important, but what it does, it puts a DNS record in place to kind of drive the point home how this will work. And I'm actually going to skip the plan because we're just going to apply it. We're going to YOLO it. And yeah, as it turns out, I tried this earlier and locked myself out, but we can fix that real quick. It's part of the demo. Here we go. So essentially we just run this. It takes a second, so I'm just going to flip over and show you guys what RunMe is made of until this is done. The idea of RunMe is to take Markdown in the places that you ordinarily use them, right? The Markdown editor or this notebook UX. And what we've done is like we built a runner that natively understands how to parse Markdown into this notebook format, but also, these individual cells you can execute by themselves. And there is a CLI runner component that lets you do that in the terminal if you elect not to use VS Code or like the notebook. And I'll show you in a moment how that will work. So, yeah, we got lucky. I managed to resolve the locking, and we just apply this infrastructure change here. And it's really convenient because you can do it all in one place, right? You don't have to flip around, copy and paste, open your terminal, close it. And now if we're lucky, this DNS record here that I created is in place, and I can connect to the server. Yay, it worked. And if I don't like using the terminal and I like the CLI runner because we also understand Markdown outside of VS Code, I can just do this, oopsie, right here. I can bring up a CLI and it gives me a lot of different options, and I can run the same stuff, that I can run in the notebook, but I can do it in the CLI, right? So essentially, we can understand Markdown and parse it and make these cells runnable, but do it outside of the notebook. And what that lets you do is, and I'm not going to do this again, it lets you put it into CI and CD. So you can essentially think about this like any GitHub action that you run can, possibly just run, oopsie, moving too fast, can just run your Markdown as a target. So essentially what that will let you do is every time you make a change and you run your CI, it will essentially run it as if a user would, right? So it kind of closes the loop where oftentimes you have make files, or you have all sorts of different, task runners, right? And, whatever they are, they're great, right? So we're not saying do away with them. But what Markdown does, and Markdown documentation and repos often does, is it tells you what sequence and how to run them. And what we'll let you do is put that into CI. So as part of making change, they will also be tested. And that's kind of really what RunMe is. It's the idea of making Markdown runnable. And the scenarios can be, very different, right? It can be onboarding for developers. It can be, kind of doing high stakes run books, sort of infrastructure rollouts for operators. But it actually is very fairly universal in the way that it just runs Markdown, right? And it's very powerful when the Markdown is co-located with codes or anything that's runnable inside of a repo, right? So it really has that sort of idea. And to like maybe close it out, we built a little browser extension that essentially makes it so that like you can go from your GitHub repo and just with one click, essentially, here we go, like bootstrap a whole project, clone into it, and hop into the right place inside of that notebook to start your onboarding process. So this takes just a second to load. I hope I shared my screen, so nobody interrupted me, so I'm sure I did.
You're good.
Yeah, so this takes like a second now because it's like bootstrapping, the whole environment. But now I could just do the same thing I showed you guys earlier. But it makes it also like really easy to create an entry point for developers. When they go on, contribute in Hacktoberfest, go find a repo they want to contribute. We essentially annotate, the UI through that browser extension with this little badge here, and it kind of ties it all nicely together, right? But the idea really is to test your documentation, to continuously integrate it, to make it so that your documentation actually works, when people put it into play. Yeah, that's my demo.
Fantastic. It's such a cool concept, and like it plays out so nicely. I feel like the concept, I don't know, it seems like such a simple thing, right? Like here's your markdown, but it can go so many different ways and be used in so many different applications.
Right. And one thing that we identified is like that I feel like, this is a personal opinion, so it might be controversial, but that we kind of overcorrected a little bit with DevOps, and we, like automated everything, but like did it, sort of in a way where, the machine understands it really well, but then humans are a little bit locked out from it. And we feel like if we perhaps actually use Markdown in these notebooks, in the way Jupyter does, right? It's inspired by that. By the data science community. It's like you can actually reason about what happens. You have intermediate steps, you have checkpoints, right? And you can still put that in CI, right? But like now when something fails, a human has a much easier time to reason about it, right? And hopefully maybe makes the pendulum swing, maybe not back, onto the other side, but somewhere in the middle.
Right. Very cool. So we have a question for you from Blair.
There was a question. Oh yeah.
Yeah. What are some areas that RunMe is looking for contribution in?
I mean, there's like a few areas. Like one thing that we, would love to have is like feedback, right? Like tell us what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what your use cases are, like, very generically. And then, we also like love people finding bugs. Like RunMe is about a year old as a piece of software. And like maybe that sounds like a lot, but like it's fairly young. So, like actually like running it and like filing bugs. If then, the person, like wants to attempt fixing those bugs, even better. But like, there's sort of this whole life cycle, right? So that's what we're looking for. And then, there's also documentation, just like with a lot of projects that, have a lot of holes, right? Because again, it's like a year old. We've invested quite a bit in it, but we could always do better. So documentation, bugs, fixing bugs, joining our Discord, telling us, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, and just kind of get involved in the community.
Right on. And I think that goes back to that earlier question, like how do I contribute for like low code solutions or scenarios? And documentation is really a big one. And I think we added that in 2022, like that counts as valid PRs.
Right. I mean, it should. But yeah, that question,
definitely.
I can also answer. We can execute, like RunMe can execute anything that's an interpretable language. It kind of works the way that shebang works in Unix land. It's like you can essentially like annotate the cells, and like we will infer based on the extension. If you have a Python file, we will use your default Python interpreter and all that. So like you can run that. The one thing, it works more like, a terminal where you pipe things from one step to the other. It doesn't share variables between code blocks, right? So you cannot like run a block of Python and then run a block of Ruby and expect the variables to be there, right? But that's a limitation of, like I guess Python and Ruby. But we support, things that are not Bash. I just happen to show the Bash examples. So thanks for the question.
Awesome. Thanks, Sebastian. Let's jump into our next hurdle. And this one is an open source question. All right, everybody in chat, what type of open source license allows free use, modification, and distribution of software? Oliver right out of the gate with a C.
Oliver might have an in, seeing as how he works on open source projects where we require them to have a license. He might know. And actually, Oliver, while we have this question up, do you want to talk a little bit about our DigitalOcean credits for open source program, just briefly?
Muted, Oliver.
Okay, back again. So DigitalOcean has open source credit program for maintainers or people who are building open source programs. So your duty is just to submit a request through the program, review the request against some standard that you have. So it could be maybe it's your project fully open sourced. You look at some of the lines that is your program is associated with. So if they're in line with what you are looking for, then we are also going to look at your stars, because I think we have to see how impactful or how great your project is. But some of the young projects don't really have a lot of stars. So the stars is just one of the main that you kind of know how great your project is. And after you've understood how well your project is doing, we offer you like 60 dollars credit for the first time, just to understand how you're going to use the platform. And once your credit usage keep growing, you start adding more to that. So basically, if you are building any sort of open source project and you are looking for development infrastructure amount of, or you want any infrastructure cost to cover anything that you are building on either a cloud platform like DataOcean, just make a request, then we are going to help you with that. Aside the open source, we have also the really have for good projects, which non-profit programs are also benefiting from. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Oliver.
You're
All right. It seems like everybody's good with C. Chris John with the Chat GPT license. I don't even know. I feel like that would change daily. All right. Let's jump into our next speaker. We have Becca with Open Sauced.
Hello, thanks for having me. I am Becca. I am the developer experience lead at OpenSauce, and hopefully you can see my slides here in a second. One of the things that we find to be really important is to empower every contributor to reach their full potential in the open. And so for us, it's all about the open source journey. So it's not just during Hacktoberfest, right? The goal is to move beyond green squares and to embrace that journey and what that means for you. So how are we doing that at OpenSauce? There we go. Right. So the first way is, how do you find your next contribution? Well, right now we're all in the midst of Hacktoberfest and we're really excited about it, but where do you get started? Well, we do have this Explore panel where you can go and use our check out our Hacktoberfest topic there. You can scroll through and see what repositories have opted into Hacktoberfest. You can see who's contributing to that. So like maybe your friend's contributing. You can reach out to them and ask them a little bit more about the project, because we really believe that the success of your contribution can start with the connections that you make as part of that experience. So once you kind of narrow it down, then what are you supposed to do with that? Well, here using OpenSauce, you can create an insight page. So an insight page is you can add different repositories to each page for a category. So you can see here that I've created an insight page that will drop in the link in the chat that has Hacktoberfest repositories for beginners. So if you're someone that's new and you want to contribute, you can check out my list. There's a handful there that I'm adding more to as well. Or if there's repositories I'm maintaining, I want to keep track of those repositories. I want to know who's contributing, how often they're contributing, what is the health of the project. And so this allows you to kind of move forward in that journey, keep track of what's happening. And then from there, it's really important to be able to show off your contributions, right? Like you're doing all of this hard work. It makes sense that you can share that hard work with others and that you can celebrate that together. So you can definitely check out your profile that you can set up on OpenSauce, and it gives you that overview of how many PRs you have, where you've been contributing, your bio. And then you can see here it says get card. So you have the shareable card. If you do follow me on Twitter, you can see that I shared my card earlier today, and you can create your own card. All you have to do is connect your OpenSauce account using GitHub. And there's a back of the card too that I don't have featured here, but it gives you a little bit more information. So it's a nice way to say like, oh, hey, what are you working on? Oh, I've got to run here. These are all of the things that I've been doing, right? It's a easy handoff to other people and a visual element that helps you to share the journey that you've been going on. And the last way, we really believe in redefining what contribution in open source means. There are a lot of different ways that you can contribute to open source that help to make it a healthy ecosystem. And so for us, again, it's all about highlighting the experience that you have. And right now on the open source platform, you can highlight in 3 different ways. If you've written a blog post, now I know that Amplification is currently accepting blog posts as part of their Hacktoberfest contributions. Write a highlight for that. Tell the story of what you did there and share it with other people. You can also create a highlight for pull requests and for issues that you've written, because I think that, as most of us know, it can be really challenging to keep up with merging in pull requests and writing issues at the same time. And so we feel that all of these different contributions are really valuable as you go through your open source journey. And it's a really great thing to be able to talk about these things and how we're working our way through them. And that's all that I'm going to highlight for now. I know that I had a short period of time to talk about this, but you're more than welcome to hit me up at any time. You can find us on Twitter at Sauced Open, or you're welcome to DM me as well. But for us, it's important of being able to move beyond those green squares, recognize that there's a journey happening, and that all of us are contributing in the ways that work for us during this Hacktoberfest journey.
Hey, Chris, I want to mention 2 things about OpenSauce. So OpenSauce is very near and dear to my heart because when OpenSauce first started as a company, we helped to support them in building their infrastructure. And then now they are coming back to sponsor Hacktoberfest. And this is just a perfect example to me of how this community is so interwoven and how we support each other. And that just to me is the thing that makes it so special. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that with OpenSauce, one of the really cool things about it is that companies that have open source projects can look more deeply through their dashboard to see who is contributing the most. And in fact, one of our hosts who wasn't able to make it today, Matt Kelly, he was a contributor to the CD. I'm probably getting this wrong. CDNS, right, Chris? Project?
CDNJS, yeah.
CDNJS project.
Just one letter off, yeah.
Thank you. And he contributed so much that DigitalOcean reached out and offered him a job as a result of that. So just a perfect example highlighting how having visibility into your open source contributions can help you level up in your career.
Yes, and I love the tagline, "Go beyond the green squares." Like, that should be everywhere. That's such a fantastic thing.
I never feel like when I look at those, I really understand what it means.
Yeah, no, I love the demo. I think it's fantastic. And I think the chat has said the same thing. Everybody in chat is absolutely enamored by it. Awesome. All right. So next up, we have another hurdle What is this one? Everybody in chat, let's do it. Which open source CI/CD platform is written in the Go programming language and is known for its scalability and flexibility in automating software development pipelines?
I'm very curious to find out because I do not know.
Yeah, and
We
I
do
also
see
want to
some
know.
answers.
I want to know what the other ones are written in.
I think Travis is a Ruby. So much I know because I contributed to it once.
Mm.
Blair covering all the bases. It's definitely answer E.
All right, just looked up Circle CI. Says closure.
I happen to know the answer to this one.
All right, Phoebe, it's time. What do you got?
It's GitLab, which is a perfect introduction to Abu Bakr. Let's talk about GitLab.
Thank you very much. When I saw the case, I was like, okay, I won't answer this one and not give it away. So, hi everyone, I'm Abubakar Siddiq Ango, and a developer evangelism program manager at GitLab. I didn't prepare a slide, so I'll just share a couple of tabs. Let me share my screen. Do I share the entire screen? Yeah, share the entire screen. It's easier that way. Okay, so for those who might not be aware of GitLab, GitLab is an AI-powered DevSecOps platform. Basically, everything that covers your entire software development lifecycle, from pushing your code up to getting your code in running in production, including security scans. But we are not here to talk about GitLab, the product, but how you can contribute to GitLab itself. Now, GitLab is an open core software, which means we have the enterprise version and also have the community version that you can deploy yourself free of charge. And also we have the SaaS version that if you don't want to host it yourself, you can use the SaaS version, which is gitlab.com, that you can easily sign up online. Now, you can contribute to GitLab, change how GitLab works. Maybe there's a feature, or maybe there's something that your use case fits that is not included in GitLab. You can contribute that back to GitLab. Here we have a page that documents how you can contribute to GitLab, and also a tutorial of how you can build GitLab. Now, not just code, you can submit documentations or translations, or maybe just hosting a meetup or writing a blog post. We have a guide. I think we'll be sharing a link to this page in the chat so you can look it up. Now, every month we release new versions of GitLab, and for example, we September 22 we released 16.4, and we always highlight MVPs. MVPs are, for every version we highlight MVPs. MVPs are individuals that have made significant contributions to GitLab or that particular release. And for example, here someone named with the handle Kick contributed an implementation of activity pub support to GitLab, and we highlighted their contribution and also planted trees on their behalf. Now, not just contributing to GitLab, we also have open source projects that are hosted on GitLab. You can contribute to them. A link to this page will also be shared. We have a ton of projects. We have a list of them here that you can check out and make contributions to their project. Now, for GitLab itself, if you want to contribute to GitLab, we have quick wins that you can work that have been highlighted with the quick win label and Hacktoberfest label, so that at least it can count towards your Hacktoberfest points. So the link to this will also be shared in the chat, where you can make quick contributions and be able to benefit from the Hacktoberfest program. Yeah, that's my short presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I love the like how much you can dive into the labels.
Yeah, several layers, as much as you can dig a hole for yourself.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, sorry, Phoebe, go.
Oh, I was just gonna say this is I think this is our third year of having GitLab as a partner, as a platform that you can contribute on. And so yeah, we're really happy to have them. And it was something that the community really requested. And so we're really happy to have that. Thank you, Abu Bakar, for joining the call.
Thank you for having us.
All right, Phoebe, what's up next?
Well, we were going to have a little bit of a roundtable discussion now, where we can just chat kind of about trends that we're seeing in open source developer tools. What are our favorite tools? But if the audience would prefer, we can go ahead and open up to Q&A questions as well, and we can kind of, blend it all together. I know we don't have much time left, but we did plan to go a little bit over today. So if you can stick around, we can go a little bit long. This event was only supposed to be an hour, but of course we always plan ahead, and because we know we like to talk. So please feel free to throw some of your questions into the chat. And while we're waiting for those questions to come in, let's talk. I'd love to hear from our guest speakers about what are their own personal favorite open source tools that they use on the daily, or chat about, kind of some of the problems that you see that we still need to solve in open source tooling. Anybody want to step up and go first?
Well, if nobody wants to, I'll go.
Yay, Sebastian, go for it.
So, like another shameless plug, automating documentation, so run me. But, outside of that, like I'm personally enjoying a lot seeing all this open source ecosystem, around AI, like namely when you're kind of like more of an AI plumber or like a mechanic like myself, who doesn't know a ton about matrices and math. But like I like LangChain and Llama Index and some of those tools that like really kind of give you more guardrails and like actually help you build stuff with AI without having to like really, understand it from scratch. So, that's my contribution.
I'll go next. I think for me, it's web IDEs and remote development environments because let's say I'm on my phone and I saw a typo or something on a project and I just want to fix it right away. It's easier for me to just click a button, make an edit, and automatically push back to the project instead of having to clone, set up IDE, set up a number of things before I can make contributions. It makes contribution easier, and people don't have to have very solid setup to be able to contribute to any project they want to contribute to. So web IDEs and remote development environment make onboarding easier for contributors and also keeping contributors, because the faster and easier it is to contribute, the more contributions projects will get.
+1 on that for me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's a great call out.
Yeah. I'm happy to give shout out to the amazing open source project we are built on top of. So Application is using a lot of open source projects in its core, and we love each one of them. I will try to mention the bigger one and the more important one that make Application possible. So of course, Prisma as a TypeScript ORM, Nest.js as a web framework, really amazing community, really great documentation, one of the best web platform in the Node.js ecosystem, and of course the code we generate ourselves is based on those technologies, so that's also great. And we are very happy to mention them, and very glad and lucky to be able to use them.
Yeah, I just want to kind of echo some of the things I've heard here. For me, it's always about making those connections, right? I think that no matter what problem you're facing, if you have connections, then you're able to solve that problem. So any tooling that allows you to onboard new contributors better is a really great place to start. Something as simple as a saved reply doesn't necessarily qualify as a developer tool, but I do think that it can help alleviate some of the pressure on maintainers and also create a better onboarding experience for contributors. So finding the tools that create those connections, I think, starts to solve some of the problems that we're seeing with a lack of repeat contributions or involvement in sustained relationships that happen within open source.
Yeah, I would like to add. Oh, do you want to go first, Oliver?
Okay, so let me take it from there. I've been working with Prisma a lot, and I love how the type safety works. Aside that, I've been exploring a bit of AI with Llama 2 as well. So I think both of them have been discussed here. So I would like to talk a little bit about non-code aspects. So when I joined DO, I've been working more with Ritu just to build a little bit of internal tool. And I got to know either Ila Cloud, right? Or if I've gotten the right pronunciation, is part of the sponsors of the program. And I think it's the open source version of Ritu, which comes with a bit of JavaScript for you to build your own data access and more of logic construction of the app in Ila Cloud. So that's something I've also tried to explore when I got to know about Ila Cloud as part of the sponsors. So Ila Cloud is more like a non-code version of using your heavy JavaScript to build application, which is something I recommend to, early beginners or people who are newbie to programming. If they have an understanding of JavaScript, they can use that one to actually build some applications here.
Yeah, I want to add some. One of the security tools I was using, I wanted to kind of piggyback off of what Becca was saying about the community aspect. I think that's something that is just like very important in open source right now, is that we want to make sure that we're not committing nefarious code into our repos, or kind of know where things are coming from. And there's a tool under Sigstr called GitSign that I use every day when I open new PRs and make commits. And it creates ephemeral keys so that you don't have to save a key at all. And so it stores all your commit keys into like a recore log, a transparency log, and it makes sure that you're kind of attesting to who you are. And this is just like a great way as a maintainer to make sure that you know where things are coming from. And it's very, very easy to use as a developer. You don't have, there's not a lot to set up at all. It's just a S flag that you add to your commits. Another thing for those who are working in containerized workflows, Melange and APKO are two tools that are very useful for making container images. Together, they're kind of like a container image factory. And that's the work that's what kind of underlies the Wolfie project, which is an undistro container image. And it's also very secure because it has a much smaller attack surface. So for those of you who are working in containers, that's a cool tool to check out too.
If you want to drop some links in the chat, that'd be great too.
Yep.
Question in chat. Can we get the recording for this event? This recording, or this is being streamed directly to YouTube. So you can go there and always find the replay of it on the DigitalOcean YouTube channel. And yes, it'll be available right after this, or as this is happening. We had a question from earlier that I want to call out. Firstly, I'd like to know if the developer tool comes with integrated support for CI/CD. And secondly, could you shed some light on how the tool's development roadmap is established and what avenues are available for me to have an impact on its direction? So I think
this one was for Run Me.
Okay, I'll answer that then. So let me see, it's a multi-part one, right? So for RunMe, we do have a GitHub action that essentially just makes it fairly simple to, like retrofit your existing GitHub Actions workflow and get RunMe in there and all that without having to do a whole lot of like rewriting. So we do make that available. We're definitely considering like adding other platforms to that, but like we haven't gotten to it. But like if you want to get involved and tell us if you want that or what platform, please let us know. I was going to try to say the name, but I don't want to butcher it. The person that contributed the comment. And the second part is we do essentially we publish release notes, but we're not necessarily like have the development roadmap public, but we're very responsive to feedback. So if you want to get involved, Discord is the best channel to go to. So when you go on runme.dev, you'll find an easy link into Discord, and you can ask questions there or make suggestions, and we're usually fairly responsive, telling you when we're going to implement it, are we going to put it in the backlog, and essentially like triage it that way. And we love those kinds of feedback and feature requests. So please bring it. I think that answered the question. It was a long one, so yeah.
Yeah, I want to bring some slides back real quick about what's coming up next for Hacktoberfest. All right, Phoebe, do you want to talk on these a little bit?
Yes, sorry. Doing all the things. So up next, we have Global Hack Week. This is Major League Hacking's week-long focus on open source. There will be presentations and workshops from AllaCloud, AppWrite, and DigitalOcean. If you register, it's completely free, and there is a ton of resources for students and folks who are looking to get into coding. So this is a great event to meet people, to get mentorship, and to get free resources. So definitely encourage everybody to go register for Global Hack Week. And then the next session that we'll have is our satellite session number 2. And the focus of that one is the future of artificial intelligence and open source. Everybody's buzzing about AI. All of us are working on AI projects. We're incorporating AI into everything we do almost every day. So yeah, we want to talk about what does that look like in the future. So register for that event here, and that one's on Pacific time, just to call that out. And we will be having GitHub join us for that, Hugging Face, Paperspace. I'm probably forgetting somebody, but I think that, let's see. Yeah, we'll have, yeah, I'm sorry, DAG's Hub as well. So some of the major players who are helping to make AI more accessible for everybody. So definitely join us for that.
Perfect. Yeah, and everybody's making an AI project. Isn't that true?
Yeah, this is definitely an interesting one to tune in. I'm still kind of working on having a few other folks join us for that one, so there might be some surprise guests. So keep your ears posted. And that one is October 26th.
Perfect. We have people already registered for those.
Yay!
Can't wait to see you.
Ariane is awesome.
Right on. Well, if there's no other questions coming in from chat, we're good to wrap it up here. Anybody last final words before we close this out?
Yeah, I was gonna say one word because Lisa reminded me of it. Yeah, I feel like like things like all these package registries on the internet that like services with like software and all that don't get enough credit. So I'm always amazed, for example, how Homebrew is such a community-run project and kind of keeps everybody like up to date with their tools, even though there might be a little bit of a security angle to that. Sometimes that is maybe not, well, a community can only do so much, but I did want to give a shout out to those guys because like it's like a lot of work, and I think we don't appreciate it because we type something in npm install and it just happens. And just wanted to express my gratitude.
Isn't that the truth? npm install, and you just are like, get all this magic.
Yeah, I take them for granted. I'm sorry. I won't. They're wonderful. Well, I have to say, I loved what I saw in our chat today. I have to say that that's the first time I've ever had people in our live streams share their LinkedIn profiles with each other to try and connect outside of the live stream. That's amazing. And that is exactly why I love Hacktoberfest and what it's all about. So thank you to everybody who participated, shared your Twitter, shared your LinkedIn. Good luck in connecting with each other. I'm super impressed, and keep coding because, yeah, open source needs you. We all rely on it.
Absolutely. All right.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. Loved it. Loved engaging with all of you, and wishing you a great day ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you
everybody.
to all of our speakers.
Thank you.
Thank you.